As business moves forward, we're all changing the way things get done. Like how we redefine collaboration, how we come up with new ways to serve our customers and deliver our products.
This one is cheddar. It's delicious.
Oh, you look so healthy.
But no matter how things change, one thing never will. You can rely on the people and the network of AT&T to help keep your business connected.
Welcome to Small Business University Online, powered by Small Business Expo, America's biggest business trade show and conference. We want to extend a very special thank you to AT&T Business for supporting small business and being our presenting sponsor. Please be sure to check out our complete webinar schedule and all on-demand recordings from previous webinars on smallbusinessuniversity.online. All of our webinars are free and full of incredible information to help you grow your business. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available within 24 hours on smallbusinessuniversity.online. At this time, we are turning the public chat feature off for the presentation. We will reopen the public chat window closer to the end so that you can post your questions for our presenter to answer during the open Q&A portion. And now, I'm very excited to introduce today's webinar. Please take it away.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me well? Okay. My name is Siva Yam. I'm president of the U.S.-China Chamber of Commerce. And before I start, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Small Business Expo for giving us the opportunity to share a few observations with you. I hope that would help you to grow your business, not just in America, but around the world. I would also like to tell you how delightful it is to work with Steve Bryan, the show producer. He's very responsive and very helpful. And we thank you so much and look forward to doing more things with Small Business Expo in the future. So, and what I would like to share with you a few observations about e-commerce, particularly cross-border e-commerce. And I will go over about 40-something slides to give you some background about this e-commerce, cross-border e-commerce, and also what are the potentials and what are the challenges. So there are some slides that are not important, and I'm going to go over it very fast. I think talk about e-commerce. We all talk about e-commerce every day. But cross-border e-commerce is really, really simple. It just means that international online trade, the sale or purchase of product via online shop across national border. By definition, buyer and seller are not in the same country. They are not bound by the same jurisdiction. They even speak different languages. However, that's not 100% true. Nowadays, when you buy something on the eBay or you buy it from Amazon or New 8, they are all local. And yet, the next thing that you know, your product will arrive later. So even though you are dealing with somebody not in the same jurisdiction, not in the time zone, but a lot of them are very localized. So when we talk about the B2B, B2C, C2C, B2G, whatever you call it, at the end of the day, it is all about e-commerce. So in B2B is outsourcing and offshoring, and more towards industrial and buy in bulk. We have been working with a lot of U.S. companies in the last 20 years in that aspect. We have begun to see some B2C, and people are selling through the platform, marketplace, Amazon, New 8, and you also have the C2C. They also in Alibaba, Amazon, so on and so on. Who are the big players? We all know that Amazon is controlling almost half of the e-commerce. So the e-commerce giants are the real big players. You also have some pure online retailers, and also have a lot of manufacturers right now. So, and you go to buy a vacuum cleaner, even headphone, a lot of them, they directly from the manufacturer. And the manufacturer is one of the fastest growing. By doing that, the manufacturer basically, they go directly to the consumer. They bypass the intermediary. The platform, the most important thing that control most of the e-commerce is marketplace. Amazon, eBay, Alibaba, Taobao is in China, AliExpress. They also have some vertical e-commerce and also social media. You see people begin to sell things on the social media. We heard a lot of things about Facebook, recently about WeChat, because Trump administration is going to force rebate our American. And incidentally, a year or two ago, there was a company that basically sell things on the region, and they just went IPO. Just show you what the potential. One of the biggest challenge is payment, and we come a long way. And now we have PayPal and Alipay. So online payment really, really help to engineer the e-commerce, particularly cross-border. So in America, you pay in US dollars, and then you use your credit card. Sometimes you use PayPal, and also and you scan it. So there are lots of ways. That's one of the driving force on the e-commerce. Oh, by the way, if you happen to be in Asia, go to China, and you see somebody standing at the corner asking for money, and you tell them, hey, I don't have money. They say, no problem. They take out their phone, and they scan your phone, and you pay them. Even homeless people are using that. Now, when you buy things, not only you pay, but one of the biggest challenge is how are they going to ship? So basically, there are three methods. One is they directly ship it to it. So when you buy something, they prepare the label, they ship directly from China. So, and the inventory risk is minimal. And the lead time is a little bit longer, depends on how they ship it. And they buy U.S. Post Office, it probably take a few weeks. And they buy from FedEx, can be a week or two. Now, recently, because of the pandemic, we have seen a lot of PPE are airship. They use FedEx. The lead time can be 2 or 3 days. But when you run into the holiday season, some of the companies that they don't have the big account, and they probably will have further delay. So the second thing is the bundle warehouse. Okay, so and you basically they ship to America, and they put in the warehouse, and when you put in the order, and they deliver. The bigger challenge is inventory. It does carry inventory risk. For example, in March, everybody was looking for the PPE, personal protective equipment. The face mask were in high demand in short supply. And the price was for three-ply, we were able to get for people, including shipping to their door, in about $2,000 to $10,000, is about 37 cents, now down to 10 cents. So within 3 months, you see the price drop by 67%. The other one is virtual overseas warehouse. So and what they do is, and they prepackage every label, and then they put in a pallet, and they air ship by container, not container, by pallet, by air flight to America, and they land there, they file the 7501 to the custom clearing and break down the pallet, and then they would ship it individually. That is faster than ship individual and cheaper because you package together. But you do have to file the 7501 and have some regulatory exposure. So we talk about the Postal Service. It probably is the biggest network in the world. And even today you have FedEx, UPS, but nothing compared to the Postal Service. They are biggest in the world, and they are probably the least expensive. Nowadays, because of all the logistic technology, the competitive advantage of sending by Postal Service is getting less. So what is the future for the e-commerce? The e-commerce, the future is definitely in Asia. You look at the graph, not only they have the huge population, if you look at China and all the countries around it, they account for half of the world population. Half of the world population. China, India, you name it. And the potential can be enormous, can be 3.4 trillion, and have an enormous growth rate. The growth rate is not just because of the huge population and because people getting wealthier, people getting more savvy about using the internet. The other thing is, and if you look at India, Indians have not been able to compete with other countries in manufacturing because they don't have the infrastructure. And yet they are one of the top nations in IT because IT and you don't need infrastructure. All you need is the internet assets. So with huge internet assets, enormous infrastructure, growth of the economy and huge population, then definitely Asia Pacific is the future for e-commerce. Okay. So, and if you look at that, is the cross-border e-commerce a size of 300 billion, and in 2020, almost 1 out of 5 e-commerce dollar will be generated cross-border. And you look at that, China is definitely the future of the growth of the e-commerce, and compare the two graphs. You also look at the retail e-commerce growth. It's enormous, particularly for China. 12 years ago, it's only 20 billion. Now it's 30 times, even more. Because this graph are a little bit outdated. And what do they buy? Everybody loves to look good, so clothing, beauty are the two largest ones. So incidentally, and it's amazing, one of the biggest for small, small e-commerce from China would be human hair. People sell a lot of hair here just for people to look good. And the other one is food. Initially, electronic have the advantage because they are relatively high value. And at the beginning, when you see the e-commerce, in United States, people avoided sales tax, so you see a lot of electronic. The other thing is electronic, you know what you are buying. You know what you're buying. If you buy an iPhone, unless they are fake, you know what you're buying. United States is also one of the biggest cross-border B2C, and when it comes to both import and exports. And United States and UK, they do a lot of trade and because of the language, but now China is taking over. So what are the risks of the cross-border e-commerce? We all know that every time when you buy something from eBay, Amazon, particularly Alibaba, we all face a big challenge. Are you buying the real thing? So, and when you buy the Louis Vuitton purse, the chance of buying on the internet that is not real is relatively high. And sometimes you cannot even tell they are fake, because they are so well made. In fact, sometimes they are real because people take it from the factory, the worker take it from the factory and they sell it. Okay? So it's one of the biggest challenges. But what eBay and Amazon had done was they use a third-party settlement. So you don't pay the seller, you pay Amazon or eBay. And they just like a clearinghouse. Any problem, they hold the money and pay you back. Okay? So protecting the consumer is always a challenge. Every time when you buy something, there are two issues. One is what is the shipping cost. The other thing is how long will it take it to get there. If you look at Amazon, initially the biggest challenge was shipping. Initially, because people buy from Amazon, they don't have to pay the sales tax. So basically, say about 5 to 10%. It being offset by the shipping costs. But now the advantage is not there anymore. But Amazon is pretty good. They have the Prime and become free shipping. So it basically take care of some of the issues. And the second thing is how long it takes. Every time when you buy something, you want it to be here way away. That's what they have, the same day delivery. So cross-border e-commerce is always have a challenge. And the other thing is the cost of good return. So if you don't like something, you find out that they will ship from China, you complain, the chance is they just don't even want you to return it, just give it to you free. So we always face the regulation. You just, in this part of the life. Now we talk about the custom and tariffs. So in the old days, the import duty could be significant. But however, a couple of years ago, United States had raised the limit to $800. So if you import anything directly for $800, and you basically tax free. And also, unless you buy on Amazon, eBay, most of the time if you buy directly from overseas, I don't know. I really don't know, but I don't think you even pay the sales tax. So if you put that together, you are looking at, pretty significant savings. So we talk about China and we just skip through that, okay? So all the new regulation, 2,000 yuan. 2,000 yuan is RMB, which Chinese, the rule of thumb is 1 to 7. It's about $700 US would be free. So not over $800, you don't need to pay the sales tax, the import duty. I'm sorry. Okay. So we are those things that we can look at that. So again, $800 is the magic number. Okay. Now, one of the challenge is shipping costs. So a lot of the product will ship by Postal Service, which is cheaper, have a fast network, but USA have pulled out from the UPU. Okay. Because US have been losing money, have been subsidizing. But now a lot of people are able to ship through the FedEx and UPS, and the price and the rate could be very, very competitive, and can be about 70, 80, or even 85%. Average is about 70 to 80% discount from overseas. Okay. So those are the things that we have to handle and you can get. But let's go back. You look at it. The e-commerce is blooming, and then you can see the parcel shipping is also blooming too. Partially because people go to the e-commerce. The other thing is because of the technology, and you see the numbers. Now, what is the implication for small business? One of the beauty about e-commerce is you don't need to have the brick and mortars. That means you may have no employees, but on the website, if you spend time, nowadays people even have the module, they copy pictures from elsewhere. So even for one-man firm, they could look like a 10,000 people company. So, and it really gives the small business the advantage. The other advantage is because of the advance of the technology, so you basically, and it becomes very inexpensive. But having said that, the e-commerce is controlled by the giants. And also, they keep on changing and have an update. So when you look at your Windows operating system, they keep changing. And everything is up, constantly update. You constantly and have to spend money to keep up to the technology we design your website. But having said that, it really gives an advantage to small business. But again, and they also drain some resources. The amazing thing is you have, and the number is very difficult to, estimate. It probably between 12 to 24 million e-commerce sites around the world. And the number is increasing every day. However, less than a million, they sell more than 1,000 a year, $1,000 US a year. That means you have a fragmented market. It's dominated by a few giants, and the rest are just barely make it or not even make it. So it also seeing that there are some opportunity, even though you are a little bit late, there's some opportunity for you to get involved. The e-commerce is dominated by the marketplace giant Amazon, account for 44% of all the e-commerce, or maybe half. Now, Amazon model is pretty good because the seller provide the content, so they don't need to say content, and they control it. They even use AI, create their own product to compete with the people that they really serve. And every time people sell, it does not matter whether they make money or not, they still charge a fee. And over 95, close to 95% of internet users have purchased product at one point of time. The people even predict 95% of all purchase in America would be free e-commerce. However, according to CBRE, and it just in 2 years is only about 15%, not the number. So it's debatable, but one thing is clear: e-commerce continue to rise. Look at the cross-border e-commerce is even growing fast, and worldwide is have online people. Over half of the people had shopped overseas. Now, either through the marketplace or whatever, but they still have done that. And you look at the biggest market, no doubt, is China, and then USA. In fact, those are the two largest economies in the world. But China is more into e-commerce. How do people buy? Again, the number one thing is cost. That's why e-commerce have an advantage early on, because you did not have to pay the sales tax. So cost is the number one, and also they are concerned about whether the fake delivery time, all the things. So for e-commerce to be successful, you need a few things. You need to be very cost competitive, and you also need to give people, the purchaser, assurance that what they are buying is indeed what they are buying, what they get what they buy. And certainly shipping had to be fast. So what's the implication for small business? Cross-border e-commerce is getting momentum. Consumers are looking beyond their own country, particularly China. They even have people in America are helping people to shop overseas. So, and they have students live in America, people who have no job in America from China. What they do day in and day out is go shopping, and they ship it back to China. Because China have that a few things. And because of the import duty, the regulation, and some luxury goods are much more expensive in China than here. Then the second thing is, when they buy it in America, they know they are buying what they want. It's fraud, and it's not fraudulent goods, it's real goods. And even in China, you go to a brick and mortar retail shop, you don't know whether they're real or fake. So, and consumers are looking outside, and companies are looking to sell around the world, not just limited. And I said it before, even the one-person social sellers, they can run a global entity. They can sell in America, you can sell to China. You don't need to be physically there. You can go to one of the economies like Africa to sell your product. And they find out that more small business that are engaged in internet sales, they export more than traditional businesses. That makes sense because they don't have to go there, particularly in the pandemic. You cannot even travel if you travel to China. We all make jokes. From Hong Kong to China is only 100 meters apart, but it took you 1 month to travel. Why? Because from Hong Kong go to China, you have to be quarantined for 14 days. And by the time when you get back from China to Hong Kong, you have to be quarantined for 14 days. So 28 days, but the two cities or Shenzhen and China, Hong Kong is just about 100 meters apart. So traveling can be expensive too. It costs, $5,000 for every trip I make to China. And also it can help particularly for women and minority, because in the internet, what they see is the goods. So the traditional supply chain have been disintermediated. So intermediary are no longer needed to some extent, and they basically make it cheaper, faster, and if anything under $800, you don't even have to pay duty for the United States, and they cannot even track the flows of the good. And often, the people even are not very honest about the custom filing, but it's just too tedious to do all the checking for hundreds of millions of small packages. Each one have a market value of $5 to $10. It also helps to increase the competition and productivity and empower. What's the future? We know that brick and mortar retail traditional are facing problems. The pandemic has accelerated the pace. We don't know whether the closing is just a development, the pandemic make it faster, or they really, really have a problem. But at the end of the day, we know that e-commerce is growing. Okay? Particularly cross-border. I said it before, China is the biggest market. Okay, we have to think about it. Is there any limit on the growth of e-commerce and cross-border e-commerce? We saw that the previous slide, so many retail stores closing and so many people go into the e-commerce. Seems that it's not going to have a cap. But once again, the digital giant, they are controlling the digital world. And can small business be profitable in the e-commerce? So the e-commerce is driven by the ecosystem, technology, mobile device, mobile cash, third-party settlement, event technology. What will drive the digital business in the future? Now, I have a friend 20 years ago, a couple, the wife won the business, one laptop computer, started with nothing. Now they do $100 million a year and own a larger property. But those days were gone because now there are so many sellers on the internet. Competition is extremely, extremely fierce. You see that 24 million webs and only about 1 million actually make it. Ever-changing in the digital platform drain of resources. To be successful, small business need to sell product with high profit margin or in large quantity. If you are selling the iPhone case, $5 after you pay Amazon, the referral fee, shipping costs, all the things, you don't make a lot of money and you don't sell a lot. Developing good product and finding sources in competitive pricing and good quality, good marketing are the key. The key thing is you need to have good feel about the market. I use BPE as an example. A few months ago, if you had good feel that there's a big demand, a short supply, you can make millions of dollars in a month. Now, if you take inventory, it is a struggle. So who are we? The U.S. China Chamber of Commerce was founded by Prescott Bush. Obviously, Bush family is well connected around the world. We scheduled to help small business to success. We have one of the largest and most diverse network because of a lot of things that we do. So when we do seminar, we refer, we provide service, we fund suppliers, we even for our third party help them to fund financing. Small business, for people to be successful, you need two things. You need good market strategy, and you also need financing. We also create a good buying for small business to work together. We are proud to be a partner with Small Business Expo. We did a webinar just a few weeks ago, and you can find out in why and how small business can outsource their supply chain. And we have another webinar coming up on the national on the 29th. So thank you so much for joining us. And I would like to open up for Q&A. Stephen and I, once again, Thank you so much for your kindness. You have been very helpful. It's a pleasure to work with you, and we look forward to a very strong relationship in the future. Thank you very much. Well, and it seemed to me that this time and last time in the webinar, we have a lot of questions and we overran. And today we have a very quiet group. So I don't know if you have any questions. Somebody asked about whether we charge a fee. Yeah, we do charge a fee, but they are nominal. So, and typically what we do is if we can provide a service, and then we charge a fee to cover our expenses. We also have membership, so we'll join as a member, and they certainly have some advantage. So, Stephen, it seems to me that we don't have any question, and I would like to say a few things and turn over the floor to you. And we are very excited about the future, and we would love to work with Small Business Expo to expand further, not just in America, and to help small business. Small business absolutely is the future for the economy, and we need a new paradigm because now the global economy, to some extent, is being controlled by the digital giant. And thank you so much. Thank you. Stephen?
Thank you so much for that informative presentation. We really enjoyed it. As a reminder, this webinar was recorded and will be available on demand within 24 hours on smallbusinessuniversity.online. Again, I want to extend a very special thank you to our sponsor, AT&T Business. Please remember to frequently check out our webinar schedule on smallbusinessuniversity.online for other great weekly business building webinars. Thank you all for joining us and have a great rest of your day.